Hello everyone, it's Fairiekin. I apologize that I can't film the normal intro that I do. I've suddenly been met with another deadline and I need my camera for something else. As you have seen by the title, today you'll be watching me make Ponyo. If you aren't familiar, Ponyo is a Studio Ghibli film directed by Hayao Miyazaki. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, but if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. Trust me, it's worth your time. So as you can see, there are a couple different versions of Ponyo. The fish stage, the little girl stage, and the in-between stage with the chicken arms and legs, which is fun. I'll be making the little girl version, because chicken legs. The base I will be using for this custom is a Precious Moments doll. I don't know a lot about these dolls or what version this specific one is, because when I got her, she didn't come with any clothes, so all I know is that she has brown hair and blue eyes, so she could really be anyone. I start by taking off her paint with pure acetone. And because the plastic of her head is so hard, I knew I wouldn't be able to do a reroute. So I tried to treat the hair as to maybe lighten it, but fun fact, bleach doesn't work on plastic fibers or synthetic materials of any kind, which I knew when I started, but I was a little desperate because I know I'm not the best at gluing wefts. So in the end, I cut it all off. Her eyes are actually little indents, so I filled those in with epoxy sculpt and also made her forehead and cheeks a little bit more round. I tried to cover her discoloration and the epoxy sculpt on her face with layers of pan pastels, but it was taking too long, so in the end I decided to mix up some acrylic paint and layer that instead. I made some orange wefts and started by gluing them a little bit further down her forehead than it was rooted originally, because that ain't no forehead. That, my friends, is a 6 head. What am I saying? I glued all of the wefts in a circular pattern and just kinda hoped I could style it from there. Now we get started on the face-up. Now she got big brown eyes, so that's what we're gonna give her. This is my first time using my Faber-Castell watercolor pencils since I made Katrina 3 years ago, and they're just not as opaque as my Prismacolors. I know a lot of people that use them, but I can't get them to work right. Eventually I got to where I needed her face up to be, but it just took so much longer. I don't know if there's some kind of special way to use Faber-Castells. For now I'll probably just lift the pigment off with a paintbrush. instead of using thousands and thousands of layers of Mr. Super Clear, whereas I could have, with the Prismacolors, it would have taken about 3 layers, but with the Fairiekin. I add gloss to her eyes to give her a little bit more life. Now to style her hair. She has kind of an undercut with a shaggy, poofy top, so I tried to emulate that as best as possible. Now for her clothes. I made some makeshift pattern pieces that I was pretty unsure of until I put them together. For the skirt, I made 2 panels, one smaller and oddly shaped, and the other one larger and circular. I gather the bigger one into the smaller one, and that's what gives it that little, you know, kind of poofy outy thing it's got going on. I did the same thing with her little pantaloons, except I gathered the outside seam into the waistband so that it wasn't too floppy. Then I sewed both of them together so that it's all one piece. Now, she's pretty cute, but she's not posable, so for her pictures and for aesthetic reasons, I gotta make her a little bit more visually interesting, so I decided she needs something to interact with. So I'm gonna make her a few little accessories. There's a scene where Ponyo and Sosuke go out looking for Sosuke's mother, and she comes prepared with a little backpack, thermos, cup, and bucket. On this scale, I was unsure as to how I would make a thermos without using a ton of materials, but I did find this empty powdered mustard container in one of my drawers and decided, hey now, that could be a bucket if it really, really tried. If it believed in itself and went to college and got a degree. Oh, what am I saying? So I cut it into a few pieces, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing while I was doing it. I used the threaded part of the top as the bottom portion to seal it off. I glue everything together and sanded it and slapped some green paint on it and said, hey now, that looks pretty nice. So I cut a handle-shaped slice out of the extra plastic and used wire and hot glue as the hinges. I took a piece of wire and sandwiched it between 2 dabs of hot glue. It made a pretty decent hinge, and now you got a nice little bucket. I also sculpted a little teacup out of polymer clay. I painted that green. I quickly sewed together a blue backpack. It's not the best thing I've ever made, but it has some charm to it, and it also has 2 pockets, I might add. And with that, she's done. In all honesty, I think she turned out perfect. I'm so happy with every picture I took of her. Again, I'm sorry I can't film the normal outro, but just know that I'm really happy to have you here. Make sure that you try to love yourself today. You deserve it. Bye!